to the end. Because I already have the beginning taped.
Have what?
I already have the beginning taped from the lesson. I just ran out of tape after 52 minutes. All right. So at the end of the appointment, two things will happen. If the customer decides to purchase, they get their products within 10 to 14 days. The other thing that we do is we'll have to fill out one of these. This is a recommendation form. This is one I got from Michelle Perrott up there. And she met with this lady, Grace Harrison. Now at the end of the appointment, this lady Grace decided that she wanted to recommend all these people to my rep Michelle. Now, why do you think these people, why do you think this lady Grace feels so comfortable giving out those recommendations? And she probably wouldn't do that, in a store or over the phone.
She feels she likes the product.
Yeah, as far as products go, as I mentioned before, 6 to 7 out of every 10 people typically do buy. But what that means is 3 to 4 out of 10 don't buy. But what we found is that the 3 to 4 that don't buy refers to the same amount of people as the ones who do buy. And it's kind of funny, the people who don't buy, they'll say something at the end like, oh yeah, I really like the products, but right now it's not a good time, or can we get your card, maybe we'll buy next month, or something like that. And then the next thing out of their mouth is, yeah, but you have to show this to my sister, she will buy everything from you. And because people really like the products, regardless of if they just have to buy at that moment. So the products always do their job, but now other than the products though, who else has to be impressive?
The representative.
The rep. Yeah, do you think Michelle did a good job?
Yeah.
Yeah, she better. That's why I hired her to do a good job. If Michelle was doing high pressure tactics or sympathy sale tactics with her clients, like she was saying stuff like, oh come on lady, just buy something, I'm a college student, I gotta pay for bills and books, and I don't want to lose my job. Can you just get a table knife, please? Just something? Okay, well, yeah, that might help her get a sale or two. Somebody might buy something to get rid of her. But is she going to get recommendations if she tries stuff like that?
No.
No, not at all. And as a company, we'd much rather have a potential customer. They wouldn't be a customer if they didn't buy. We'd rather have somebody see our presentation, not buy something, give us 11 recommendations, and tell all their friends, hey, it's a great company, it's a great product, than for somebody to buy one thing and then tell all their friends and family, oh my God, stay away from that company. They're so pushy. They're going to try to pressure you into buying stuff. And so because of the fact that we have great products and because I hire great reps, we get a lot of recommendations. So let me show how we use that information once it's given to us. I'll draw on the board, makes it visually clear. So we have Grace. Let me use a marker that actually works. All right, so we have Grace. Grace is happy. She met with Michelle and gave Michelle a bunch of recommendations. Now in our training program, what we do is we'll teach Michelle how to follow up with these new people that she's been referred to. Now, why do you think we want Michelle following up with these people as opposed to having a telemarketer or somebody in our office calling for her?
That way they'll believe Michelle.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as it goes, do you think there's a level of trust that goes when Grace gives this information to our rep?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think Grace wants Matt Washington calling her friends?
No.
No, she doesn't want Matt Washington. So Michelle, we want Michelle to follow up. So in our training program, we teach our reps how to follow up with all their appointments. But we know our reps get more recommendations than actual appointments they want to do. So we'll teach Michelle in our training program how to qualify her recommendations with the original client before she wraps up her appointment. Now our target audience is what we call the 3Ms: married, middle-aged, middle-income people. and we look for people because those people can afford this type of thing. It's a practical item. It's something that they like. Now we can't tell from a name and a phone number if someone's a married, middle-aged couple, and we don't want Michelle saying, "Is this lady Dorothy married? How old is she?" So that's not really not the right way to ask. So we'll teach her to say something like, "Oh, in case I get Dorothy's husband on the phone, what's her husband's name?" And that way she'll find out her single and her married couples. And then they'll ask something like, "Oh, I like to be careful. Today's people have little kids because people with kids I just like to be careful with the knives. All right, and then, obviously if they have little kids, they're not eating. So, so the point is we can kind of figure out, based upon the questions, we teach our reps the right way to qualify. And you'll see they have a column here for yeses, so as she asks these questions, she'll be like, oh, this person I want to talk to, this person I want to talk to, and that way they can choose their clientele. Now, the other thing, another way that our reps qualify is Michelle lives over in Comac. So let's say she originally called Grace because she saw that Grace also lived in Comac. Well, where do you think most of these recommendations will end up living then?
Comac.
Yeah, Comac. We don't get a lot of recommendations in Vermont or Wyoming. Now, as I say that though, occasionally we do. Occasionally we'll get someone who'll say, "Oh, my sister would love she just got married and moved to New Jersey." Now, if we get one in New Jersey, Michelle will say, "Oh, thank you so much for the recommendations," when she's sitting with the customer. But when it's time to make phone calls, if she sees some weird town here she's never heard of before, do you think she's going to call those people? No, she just doesn't call. Nobody likes New Jersey anyway. By the way, these people don't get mad. It's not like they're sitting around like, when's the knife girl calling? Like they just don't get a phone call. It's not really a big deal. By the way, now that you guys have gotten to see the demonstration that we do and the comparisons we do with our product lines, well, where do you think is the best place for our reps to sit down and work with their clientele?
In their home.
Well, obviously in their home, but where in their home?
Kitchen.
Kitchen. Yeah. Kitchens, dining rooms. We don't like to sit in people's living room, cutting rope on a couch. It doesn't go over too well. Summertime, we'll sometimes sit on the back porch because people do also, they like cutting the rope and the leather, but people also like to cut up food, and which is a great thing about our presentation. They can do that as opposed to being in a store. By the way, how do you think Michelle and Sandy and Coretta and all my reps, how do you think they're treated by these clientele when they're an invited guest to sit at their kitchen table for 45 minutes or so and show them our products?
Pretty good.
I'm sure you will. You think my reps ever get doors slammed in their face?
No.
I have an appointment with you. Get out. So the representative, if the customer didn't want to set up the appointment, they wouldn't set up the appointment in the first place. So the way that we've set up our program is it makes it comfortable for all three parties involved. The original customer feels comfortable giving us the recommendations because they know their friends are going to see the same rep, they're going to deal with the same person, they're going to get the same service that they got. And as long as they got good service and they enjoy the presentation, they don't mind referring. These new customers feel comfortable with our rep because they know that the rep has already met with their friend. These people aren't just cold called out of the phone book. Our reps aren't going door to door, knocking on doors, hey, I have knives, I don't even know how that would work, as far as that goes. So they're not being bothered by the rep and they want us in the appointment. And the reps feel comfortable with these people because they've already met their friend, they've qualified their recommendations, and they're dealing with the married middle-aged couple, and they're choosing people who are local, who live in their local area. Now, that's just one appointment, so let me show how it works on a weekly basis. Now, the minimum number of appointments we ask a rep to do in a week is 10. So it might be a weekend person could do 5 and 5 on Saturday and Sunday. We have some students who just do 2 every day, Monday through Friday, on the evening after school. So that's the minimum number that we ask. However, do you think there's a maximum? No. Well, there is a maximum. It's 168. That's how many hours are in a week. So if they didn't want to eat, sleep, or do anything else, they could do 168 appointments. So I'm just using 10 though, because 10 is a realistic number. So at the end of the appointment, or at the end of each appointment, our representatives average anywhere between 5 to 10 recommendations. Now, some of the people they sit down with only give 1 or 2 recommendations. Sometimes people say, I don't know anybody, and that's always sad, as far as that goes. However, on the same note, sometimes we'll sit down with the PTA mom or the church lady who knows everyone in our neighborhood, and they'll take out a directory and they'll fill up 2 or 3 pages. And so we average 5 to 10. By the way, how long do you think it takes people to jot down 5, 10 names and phone numbers off their cell phone?
5 minutes.
Yeah. Usually while our reps are just cleaning up, they give them the paper, they fill some people out, and then they're done. So now, at the end of the week, this representative has anywhere from 50 on the low end to 100 recommendations on the high end that they can now follow up with. Now the reps aren't going to set up appointments with all of these people. Some of these people won't live in the right area, some people will live far away, or some people won't be the right types of people. Some of these customers won't be able to see the rep at the time that they're available. So we found that our reps will set up appointments with typically about half of the recommendations that they get, which would give this rep anywhere from 25 to 50 appointments to do. Now this rep only does 10 appointments a week, so they would do these 25 to 50 appointments over the next 2.5 to 5 weeks. So that 1 week of work has led to 3 to 5 weeks of work almost. Now, while the reps are doing all these appointments over the next 2 to 5 weeks, what are they going to get from these people?
More recommendations.
More recommendations. So they do the same appointment. So with 5 to 10 recommendations, means now they'll have anywhere from 125 on the low end to 500 recommendations on the high end. I'm not going to keep going, hopefully you get the point. And one of the things that our company takes a lot of pride in is that we have never had to let a rep go for lack of work. And our reps know as long as they're doing work this week, they'll have more people to see next week. And this is all done without telemarketing, and without going door to door. It's all by referral and appointment. So, I do want to show how our schedules work. The appointments take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So we teach our representatives to set up their appointments an hour and a half apart. This way they have time in between just to kind of get themselves together, get to their next appointment on time. They don't need a lot of time in between just because of the fact that all the appointments are local. So, I'll show some schedules here. Each week we take a blank schedule and the reps tell us what they have to do. They block that off in their schedule, and then they put these little A's for availabilities. And then when they talk to their clients, they offer the times that are available on their schedule. Now, if a customer can't set up a time at one of the times that they have available, then the rep will just tell that customer, I'll have to give you a call back next week, and then they'll set up they'll just call different people until they set up one of their appointments. So our reps are never doing any more or less work than they want to do on any given week. So with Megan here, you see Megan has classes during the week. She teaches a Zumba class on Friday nights, and then she does her appointments on the weekend. She'll do 5 on Saturday, 5 on Sunday, and that's how she has her 10 appointments in a week. Here's Bracha. Bracha's a 20 appointment rep. Bracha does all her appointments in the middle of the day, 11 to 4, 11 to 5. And now Bracha deals with a lot of housewives, because that's who's home during the middle of the day. Also, she's a lot of housewives. Guess who housewives refer?
Housewives.
More housewives. So they talk to them. So she'll just see housewives throughout the day, and then on Sunday she'll pick up the people she couldn't get in the middle of the day during the week. Friday she takes off. Saturdays are Sabbath. She'll work on Saturdays. This is Brianna. I'd like to show this one. Brianna, here you see she wrote R&R. That's rest and relaxation. Just means Brianna can sleep until 12. And then she would start doing appointments in the evening. Now I show this schedule because see here she wrote family obligations. That week, she had when we sat down to do her schedule, she had a family reunion coming up. I told her she could be off for a reunion. The next week, she didn't have a family reunion. So guess what she wanted to do on Friday and Saturday? Do more appointments. Do you think I had any problems with doing more appointments the next week? No. I've never called my team and said, hey, we sold too much. I really need you to stop. So the schedules are flexible from week to week that we can adjust what reps need. For example, here's Pat. Now, Pat started with us last summer, and he didn't have any school or anything else in his schedule, so he was doing a lot of appointments. But when school rolled around, he had church on Sundays, he had his classes in here, he was on the basketball team, he went to the gym in the morning, and he had all this stuff going on in his schedule. Studying was very important to him. But we just set up a schedule so he could do 5 on Friday, 4 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday, and he was still able to get his 10 appointments done even with all this other stuff going on. So as far as the scheduling goes, our reps like the fact that schedules are flexible, that we can arrange a schedule that works with the reps' previous commitments. However, as I tell our reps every week, with flexibility comes responsibility. And it's a week-to-week flexibility, not a day-to-day flexibility. If our reps have 4 appointments set up for the day, they can't wake up that day and go, oh man, it's so nice outside, I'm just going to go to the beach, I don't feel like doing this. And I'll set them up for next week. That's not a bad reflection of them, that's a bad reflection of us for hiring them. And so we keep a copy of their schedule so we can hold them accountable to what they said they're going to do, and they keep a copy of their schedule so obviously they can have to do their work. So that's our schedules. So last thing I'll cover here with programs is how our reps get started. And our reps get started in our training program. Training is broken up into 3 different parts. First part of training is a 2-session classroom training. And during the classroom training, we do a lot of role playing. We give our reps a basic outline of the presentation, and we let them practice. And they role play until they get it. Now we role play a lot, but how long do you think it takes people to actually learn this presentation?
An hour?
Yeah, it doesn't take very long. I mean, some of our reps, I think, just cut the rope and smile. It's really not that hard. There's no owner's manual. We're not selling. There's no apps that go with our so it's pretty quick to learn. But in the training, we role play. We over role play. We make it to the point so that way when our reps actually sit with a real customer, they're like, I've done this like 15 times. I know exactly what I'm supposed to say. Now, in the training program, we don't just teach the product, so that's a very important part of the training, but we also teach things like networking skills, how to ask for recommendations, how to qualify a recommendation. We also teach things like how to follow up with these people and put them into a schedule. We teach things like how to make a schedule. Pat's schedule didn't look like this until I made him make a schedule like this. Also, we teach them how to deal with money, how to talk to someone and spend $3,000, how to talk to someone and spend $30, how to present a payment plan, and just overall how to do a good presentation. By the way, do you think some of these skills might help someone even if they didn't stay with our company long term?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this notes. Now, I can't explain how good our training program is just by talking about it for a couple minutes, but just to give you an understanding of the quality of the training we offer. There currently are 7 college professors that are using our training program in their marketing classes for their students. And I'm sure you've heard of some of the schools: LSU, Purdue University, Boston College, University of Texas, USC out in California. And these professors make all their business students have to go through our program and learn our training program. So we're doing something right with the training based upon that. Now, at the end of the classroom training, how good do you think our reps would do if they didn't have any of our products to show their clientele?
Probably not good.
Yeah, they're kind of tough. Like, imagine this penny code. So at the end of the classroom training, all of our representatives get a $350 free loaner set of our products that they can show to their clientele. Now, my reps really love that word, but sometimes they forget about that word. So we do give them to them for free, but we do expect them to turn it back in when they're done working with our company. And by the way, our reps like the products a lot, but to do their presentations. But what else do you think they do with the products other than just use them for their presentations?
Actually use them.
Yeah, I heard they're good. And there was many times when I had to go do an appointment, and I was like, Mom, I got to do an appointment. She's like, I'll make it dinner. and we want our reps to use the products at home because that builds up their conviction in the product. So when they talk to a customer, that they can say, oh, we use this ourselves in our own home. Now, because of the fact that of the quality of the training that we do, and because we do trust the reps with almost almost $400 worth of our products, we don't pay for this initial part of the training, these 2 sessions. It's 1 full day and 1 half day. We want the reps to at least invest their time into learning the program if we're going to give them all this stuff. However, the second part of the training we do pay for. This is what's called the paid practice appointments. And over the next 2 days, reps typically do anywhere between 4 to 10, or more if they want to, practice appointments. Now, they're allowed to practice with anyone they want, but who do you think they typically choose to do like their first couple ones for?
Family.
Yeah. Why do you think they choose people they know as opposed to like a stranger their first time?
Comfort.
Yeah, just comfort level. Like I did my first one for my dad. He didn't make me comfortable. He asked me all kinds of stupid questions. He's like, "What kind of steel's in this?" I'm like, "Dad, shut up, cut the rope." And I could do that because it was my dad. However, I couldn't. After that appointment, I was like, "Well, wait a second. I can't tell customers shut up, cut the rope. I got to learn what kind of steel's in this." So help me get better at the presentation. Now, by the way, since the reps get paid for these practice appointments, because of the fact that they could make a sale during those practice appointments as well. Since they're paid for these appointments, guess how many practice appointments they try to do?
As many as they can.
A lot. For example, Jiley, Jiley is a part of one of those like mega churches, with like 2,000 people in it, and she when she got the job, she's like, wait a second, I can get paid just for talking to all the people at church? Well, to our company, is there any difference between someone from Jiley's church or a recommendation? No. So we don't care. So some reps do a lot of practice appointments, and they get paid for those. Some reps just do a couple and then dive right into recommendations. It's up to the level of comfort of the rep. Last part of training is advanced training. Advanced training takes about 2.5 hours. And during advanced training, we say, well, how'd it go? And usually at this point, the reps are done with people that they know. So now they're going to start talking to people that they don't know. So we just want to teach them how to talk to people that they don't know. That's training. Now after that, we don't just kick people out. I do talk to my reps every day. For the first 2 weeks, this might not be in the notes because it just changed a little bit. For the first 2 weeks, our representatives call after each appointment. So that way we can give them a lot of help when they're brand new. After their first 2 weeks, then they just check in the morning and give me an update on any appointments that they have for that day. And obviously they can call anytime they want. Then, twice a week, we have a meeting with the reps. One of these meetings is a one-on-one where they come in, they turn in their orders, they turn in their paperwork. We make a schedule for the upcoming week, we look at their results and where they can improve, we set new goals, and that's the one-on-one. The other meeting is a team meeting. That's when our representatives come in, they pick up supplies, and we usually have the top person for the week give a talk, like here's what I did, here's how I did it. And when you have 20 to 30 positive, outgoing people in a room together, I think there's a social atmosphere on the team.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. And, we're a pretty fun group, and then afterwards we'll go to Dave & Buster's. Also, during the meetings, our reps can sign up for field trainings. So our key staff, before a meeting, will come in, set up some appointments, and then when the new reps come in, they can set up a field training, they can go and watch one of the more experienced reps do the appointment. And they do that just so they can continue getting better at their job. So that's training. Definite perk of the job is that our reps never max out their communication skills, they can always get better. And they're constantly getting trained. So, we'll wrap up here with our pay and some perks. Pay for our job, pretty simple. All of our reps here are paid on 2 pay scales at the same time, and they get either or, whichever is more. They have a guaranteed base, and they have an incentive program. And as I said, they get either or, whichever is more. They don't pick which side they want. They don't choose. They get whichever's higher at the end of the week, which is what they would choose anyway. So with base pay, I'll start off explaining that. Currently our base pay is $16.50. And we pay here what's called a base appointment, not a strict per hour. Reason for that is, can we really time every appointment? No. And as I mentioned earlier in the interview, sometimes we'll sit down with the customer and the customer will be like, look, you're going to cut rope and pennies and stuff. My sister already has this. I just want the set she bought 2 weeks ago. And so we write up an order and we're done in 10 minutes. We're not going to pay the rep 1/6 of their pay because it was only a 10-minute appointment. So they get paid for every appointment. So a rep who does 10 appointments for the week will make $165 for the week. If they do 20 appointments, it'll make $330. 40 appointments, and we'll make $660. So this is just for doing work. There's nothing to do with sales, there's no commissions or quotas or anything involved with this side of the pay. Which is kind of unique. Why do you think our company feels so comfortable paying this kind of money to people just to show someone the product, just to do the presentation? Why do you think we feel comfortable having a base pay?
Because it'll make them want to work.
Yep, definitely causes them to want to work. They want to do more appointments. What do you think happens at most of these appointments?
Sales.
Yeah, we just know people are going to buy. I don't think it would be possible for somebody to do 40 appointments and not make a sale. Even though they just do it on the floor. Someone's going to say, I need scissors. So we just know as long as the reps just do the presentations and show up, then people do buy our products. If nobody bought our products, we wouldn't have any money to pay them. Now there are some rules for our base pay program. First rule is the people our reps see have to be at least 25 years old or older. I don't want reps going up and down a dorm room, here, cut this rope, I just made $16. Next thing is the clients have to be employed. Obviously we want them to have a source of income so if they could buy something, if they wanted to. Next thing, it's a one-on-one presentation. We don't do any Cutco parties. People can't go to Yankee Stadium, cut the rope, and say, oh, look at all these people watching. That doesn't count. And husband and wife counts as one, so it's one per household. And the last thing is the representatives, as I mentioned before, that they call. You don't see a bunch of reps walking around my office right now. just because some of them live very far from my office. I don't make them come here every day just so I can look at them. But they do call in at the beginning of the day and let me know how many appointments they're doing so that we can keep track of what's going on in our office. So those are the rules. As long as they follow those 4 rules, they're guaranteed their $16.50 regardless of the sale. Now, incentive. Most people, like the base pay. However, what we found is no matter how high we raise this base pay, if we only pay people on our team a base pay, what do you think would happen to the quality of their appointments after like a week or 2?
Would go down.
Yeah, perhaps we stop trying. Like, all right, well, make it $16, cut the work. You want anything? No, good. And so you can imagine Pat having a $2,900 order and then me paying him $16. He wouldn't be excited about having $2,900 orders. And so our goal is not to demotivate our team. We want to motivate them. So all our reps start off at 10%. They make 10% of anything that a client buys from them during an appointment. We don't talk about 10% too long because they're only at 10% until they reach $1,000 in career total sales. You remember the average order from before?
250.
Close, 300. All right. So it's $300. So as far as so $300. So based on the average order, does it take long to hit this promotion?
No.
Most reps hit in their first couple of days. So, but even when they're brand new, at 10%, well, let's say they did their first practice presentation for a neighbor, and the neighbor said, hey, I really like this stuff, and I'm going to buy a set, $300 set. Well, that rep at 10% will make $30 on that appointment, as opposed to the $16.50. Now, if the neighbor was like, oh, hey, I didn't mind letting you practice, but we don't feel like buying anything today, our rep would say, well, that's fine, we'll still get $16.50 just for doing the appointment. So again, it's either or, whichever is more. Now, when the reps hit their first $1,000 mark, they get a nice pay bump, and they go up to 15%. 15% of a $300 order is $45 for that one appointment. Now, also don't stop at 15%. When they get to $3,000 in sales, they go up to 20%. They're at 20% until they reach 6,000. Then they go up to 25%. They're at 25% until they reach 10,000. Then they go up to 30%. 30% is the highest weekly incentive that a rep can earn here with our company. However, our reps are very happy at 30%. 30% of a $300 average order is $90 for that one appointment. So if the rep did 10 appointments for the week, and even if they had just 5 sales, that would be a $450 paycheck for them. You're just working part-time. So, would you say we give our reps a pretty good reason to try?
Yeah.
And who determines how fast the reps move up this chart?
The reps.
The reps do, yeah. It's all up to the reps. Sometimes they say we do. We go, well, no, well, it's our reps. Our reps make that decision. And they can go up as fast as they want. By the way, the reps only go up on this chart, they never go back down, they never get reset. So for example, Ed Zembrowski, one of our top reps from last summer, he sold $20,000 while he was on his summer break. When he comes back this summer, he's still at $10,000, he's still at 30%. So also with the incentive program allows me to know that my reps are going to do a good job. And as far as it goes, I have no clue what my team is doing right now. I don't know how they're dressed for appointments. I don't know if they're on time. I don't know what they're saying to customers. But if reps are cursing out their customers and they're late all the time and they're not dressed properly, well, they're going to miss out on a lot of sales. Obviously, customers are not going to take them seriously. They're not going to do well at the job, and they're losing out a lot on their incentive by not doing the right things. So, last thing I'll say about the pay is we don't pay the reps after every single appointment. It's not like they come in here, hey, I just did one. I need $16, or I need TM. So we pay them weekly. So every week, the reps turn in what's called a presentation report. It looks like this. And it's pretty simple. They put the date and the time of the appointment they did, some general information about the person they saw and what they got. HWS stands for husband, wife, or single person, so we can see what types of people they're seeing. Recommendations, how many recommendations that they got from each person. CPO, that's our term for sales. So these people bought 338, these people didn't buy 127, these people bought nothing, so on and so forth. And then we have the customer side. So we know that Kristen did that part. So let me show how we use that. I'll do an example for a week example.
Oh my gosh, you wanted Huntington.
Yeah, she lives in Huntington. All of them.
positive, I'm gonna write this down. Kidding.
That was one of my first reps last year, last summer. So let me do an example here. So at the end of the week, so we have a base pay, we have an incentive. Let's just say the rep did 10 appointments, makes my math easy. Now, 10 appointments, we times that by their base pay of $16.50, and their base pay would be $165. And that's how much they would get no matter what, because that's how much work they did for our company. Now, on these 10 appointments, though, they're going to have some sales. So what we would do is we would take the sheet, we add up all the numbers in the sales column, and that tells us their sales for the week. I'm just going to make up a number. Let's just say it's $1,000. I always use the same examples. So now, by the way, they might have had one sale out of these 10 appointments for $1,000, and 9 people not buy anything. They might have had all 10 people buy $100 apiece. So we just add it up, and that's their sales for the week. We then times it by their percentage. Say they're brand new and at 10%. So their incentive pay would be $100. So in this scenario, this rep would get a paycheck for $165 for the week, because their base pay was higher than their incentive pay for that particular week. Again, it's either or, whichever is more, not both. Now, let's say this rep had done better. And instead of $1,000, let's say they had sold $2,000. That might sound like a lot, but 10 appointments, 6 to 7 sales, 6 times $300, 7 times $300, right around $2,000. So what would their incentive pay be then?
200.
Close. It'd actually be 250. The reason why it would be 250 is for the first 10%, for the first 1,000, they'd be at 10%. That would be $100. But then they would hit a promotion halfway through there, and their second 1,000 would be at 15%. Most people don't get that. So this rep would get a paycheck for $250 for the week instead of the $165, because their incentive was higher than the base. So I don't think I can make this simpler. I do want to make something extremely clear visually. The reps do not get the $165 plus the $250. We pay well, we don't pay that well. So the base pay program, what it allows our representatives to do is allows them to start their week, make a schedule, take out their clientele list, and say, okay, as long as I set up these appointments, here's how much money I'll have at the end of the week. And they can figure out exactly what their paycheck will be before they even meet one customer. The incentive, though, makes them say, okay, look, I just set up these 10, 20, 30 appointments. If I'm on time and doing the right things, I'm not just cutting the rope and getting out of there as fast as I can make a lot more than just the $16.50 I'm guaranteed for each appointment. That's okay. I will say this about the pay. I used to play football, not good at math. Journalism major. I didn't even understand the incentive program.